So, Mission Impossible, the TV series, we're watching it on Pluto. Pluto has kind of a crazy interface, at least to me. You know, we're watching it through the Roku on the TV. You can install that, and Pluto's free. And the things you watch have commercials. So, you know, it's a different experience when you're watching, like we're watching one every day. So we're up to season 4 somewhere, like 4 or 5 episodes in. And because you're seeing them so close together, normally you wouldn't see them for another week. And they, you know, in the old system where you had to actually wait for your program to come on. So you see a couple things more clearly. One is that some of the footage is actually reused. And what they've done is, there's the classic scene where Mr. Phelps goes, he's the team lead person that organizes the mission and everything. He goes to a location, listens to a tape recorder, and looks at some photographs. And that mission is described. But what you see after you watch it is he's going to the same telephone booth. He's going inside the same factory, you know. And what they've actually done is it works seamlessly because the only part that they're changing is the middle part where he's holding the photographs or looking at the tape. So all they really have to do is, and sometimes it's just the photographs, the tape, they could splice in, this will just, you know, self-destruct in 5 seconds. But so they basically only have to put in him holding the photographs while he's listening. Now, they repeat them once in a while. They don't do it every time, like they've only got 5 places he goes. But it's just interesting how that footage is reused, and of course, that's a big budget saver. And I think a lot of Mission Impossible, even though evidently it was quite a popular series, people were getting Emmys for it. Barbara Vance got 3 Emmys. I think she got the most, even though she was only on for part of the season. It's, you know, I lost my train of thought. Notes. Oh, one of the other things you notice is in this is they really play to the commercial spot. You know, it's the first or second commercial, they'll ramp up the plot, and it looks like disaster's going to strike. Boom, commercial. Then it comes out, and usually the situation resolves itself easily. But they definitely build up to the commercials, which was quite common at that time. I don't think it's like that necessarily in, shows today. They put commercials more in where it's convenient to break. But, you know, we watch the show Snake Oil that's on, and they will definitely do the things. Oh, we're now playing for the big money when we come back from the commercial. So they will do kind of that. So plot, character changes, okay? And, well, the first season, we have a different team lead. And he mysteriously disappears and is replaced by Mr. Phelps, the character, okay? And nothing is ever said about it. Well, you know, I'm searching for why. And, you know, I'm using these artificial intelligence things. So they just go to sites and pare it back or rearrange things and feed it to you. And one of them was the typical, oh, well, we had nothing there was nothing wrong with the quality of his work or anything. It was just a mutual agreed on situation. Well, then you look further and you find out, no, it wasn't. He was Jewish. He didn't work on the Sabbath, which is Saturday, and that presented a problem for them for production because, you know, autoseries, they'll pack everything in to a very narrow time period. And this is true of even Wheel of Fortune and things. I've heard about some of those. You know, there's a set number of weeks where they're actually making the show for the entire year. And so it's very compacted. I read people left NCIS solely because of the time commitment. You worked like 12 or 19 hours a day. I guess it was really rigorous, the number of hours that, actors and actresses had to put in for that show. So, there's this pressure to get it done quick. They don't have to pay people as long as much. They don't have to rent things and, all of this stuff. By putting it all together, makes it cheaper to produce. So that's a reason why they're reusing some of the commercial the clips and things like that when they can. But back to the personnel, I got my little notes here. Back to the personnel changes. What has happened is Martin Landau and Barbara Baines are gone. And they're like you could almost consider them the main two characters of the show, because Martin Landau is always the one with an elaborate mask usually, and he plays the villain and the good guy and all of these things. So, but he's gone, and Leonard Nimoy is replacing him. Leonard Nimoy has come off of Star Trek, and he ends up in this show. They haven't replaced Barbara Baines, and they won't in the fourth season. They're just calling on guest stars, although right off I can tell that Lee Merriweather, she's been used a couple times already. So why did Martin Landau and Baines leave? Well, it was money. Martin Landau, they had a contract, and he wanted to get paid more, and they weren't going to pay him more. So, whatever. He got released from his contract, and his wife too, and they left the series. But as far as I can tell out, that didn't affect the ratings much. It's funny how we think we're so indispensable, and then, things go on fine without us. But that was the reason, money was the reason. And it's just kind of something funny I found about it is at the beginning of the show, we try to guess where Barney is going to be. The black character, he's the high-tech guy that knows all the electronics and chemistry and everything that they need to pull off these capers. And we call it Barney in a box. When we see a box, we try to guess whether Barney's in that. The strong man, if he's carrying a case, they've got the strong man because he can carry that case, and there's a person in the suitcase. And, so he's able to carry it without looking like he's carrying, 180 pounds or something like that. So that's kind of amusing. And sometimes Barney's in a container that couldn't even hold him. So they just show him getting into it and getting out of it. And one of the episodes, there was a presidential vehicle, and we're watching it come in, and I'm saying, I bet Barney's in the space between the back seat and the trunk. And sure enough, they pull up, that the cover comes off from the inside, and Barney runs out of the car, and that's exactly where he's hidden. So that's kind of funny, figuring out where he's going to be. And then the technology, too, is quite different because, of course, now this is the, late 60s, 70s, and everything's analog. Everything's like they have a computer board, right? And it's got tubes on it, something you don't usually see, and other things that they'll do. They'll have meters instead of digital displays. They'll have dials and things. And one thing I caught is, and like I say, I think they tried to save money a lot when they were doing the show, make it more profitable. But they show the front of a radio that they kind of use when they're in a car or van sometimes to do listening of a bug that they planted. Well, I had that radio once. I can tell they usually only show a part of the screen because they don't want to give away the whole, if you see the whole thing, you might not think it was that high tech. But, and some of the knobs, and it was a radio that was sold by Lafayette Stores, which was a store similar to Radio Shack. But I actually had one of those when I was younger. I wish I still did, but I don't. And I could just tell by the controls and everything that it's that radio. And, that radio wouldn't have been a good radio to use for that. I mean, it was fine for, listening things, stronger shortwave radio broadcasts and things like that. But for picking up, very weak signals from a bug, it would be, a microphone would be extremely hard for it to do. And just on that too is, most of the devices you see on these shows would never work, the mics and bugs and everything, because they're all too small to have a decent battery. That's always sometimes a limiting factor of how small something can get. They're constrained by battery size for the life of how long you want the thing to run. If it only had to run a couple minutes, you could make something really small. But to make something, this bug that's going to be in someone's house and let's say you're even listening for 8 hours, that's going to require a battery that's going to be able to broadcast that uses, energy up. And, it makes the battery an issue with all of these things. So, but we're still enjoying it. Leonard Nimoy is kind of stiff. He's not, I don't know, he played, Spock where that's all he was stiff, and so some of that is carrying over into this show, but I'll bet by the end of the show he's more, he's going to be in for 2 seasons, I believe, the last 2 seasons, and we'll have to see how things improve, because by the time the Star Trek movies are being done, I would say he's much more versatile in what he's showing on the screen, although he is reprising this character. So there we go. Mission Impossible. Is there 6 seasons? And it's on Pluto, which is free. You can get that for an app for your phone, or the Roku TV. You can install these channels. And we like the Roku a lot because basically now we very rarely watch programs in real time. We pick when we want to watch something, and because there's so much garbage on, that helps to find something, that you want to watch, and you watch it. Oh, let's watch this now. Okay, and we do it. Bye.